This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. Now let's get on to it. Roy Jones Jr. Listen, Roy Jones. Let me say it again. And number 3, for the number of confirmation. Stop the presses and pump the brakes on the nonsense. Go sit down somewhere and what? Higgity fucking hush. See, I had to wag that finger 3 times because the number 3 means what? Number of confirmation. Now hear me and hear me. Well, let's get on to this video. Roy Jones Jr. said that Errol the True Spence has to continue to prove to him that he is a legitimate welterweight by being Terence Crawford. You classic Doden, you trophy. You Rudy Pool, you plum break. You ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. I told you boxers, trainers, promoters, all alike can be this stuff. They can be these incendiary words. How are you sitting here and telling us when Terence Crawford fought a lame duck Jeff Horn, a one-legged gimp or variation of a Jose Benavidez, a 5 years past his prime at that time Amir Khan, and a mean machine that was on the shelf for damn near close to 12 months? Don't get me started on his 140-pound resume. But then you want to sit here and say that Errol the True Spence has to beat him? Well, this is what I have to tell you, Roy Jones Jr. Who the fuck is Bud Crawford? Let me say it again. Who the fuck is Bud Crawford? All I've known him to be is a chihuahua barking behind a damn fence. Let me say it again. A chihuahua barking behind a damn fence. That's the cold-hearted, that's the unadulterated, and that's the cutthroat true color fashion. You've taken too many punches to the head. This is evident of those knockouts and those knockdowns that you've sustained. Let me say it again. This is evident of the knockouts and the knockdowns that you've sustained. See, fighters, especially these fighters that get slide to the mouth and that talk too sideways out of their ass, Hino's Sport is going to start saying from here on out, they need to get an immediate CTE scan. Let me say it again. Hino's Sport is going to start denoting from here on out. This started with Sean Porter with that cockamamie Manny Pacquiao over Floyd Mayweather, then turned around and said that Terence Crawford can beat Errol the True Spence, then turned around and said that he can fight at 160. From here on out, these fighters, when they talk too sideways out of their mouth, just like reverse bias, aka detractors, aka panderers, then they need to get an immediate CTE scan. Because you have Lou DiBella here that debunked you, that said that Errol the True Spence resume is leagues and shoulders above Terence Crawford. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence resume is leagues and shoulders above Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is right now, this is Lou DiBella's terminology here. The negotiation table is Errol the True Spence 60-40. See, this is what Terence Crawford doesn't understand. Once Errol the True Spence fights Danny Garcia, the negotiation table becomes 70-30%. That's it. That's the cold-hearted, the unadulterated, the cutthroat true color fashion. The real G's, the super real G's, and the ultimate real G's out here in these boxing streets, they understand what he knows the sport's talking about. It's the Rudy Pool and the Plum breaks, the classic Dolce and the Troglodytes, the ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. They don't get the message, and they will never get the message. Let me say it again. The Rudy Pool and the Plum breaks, the classic Dolce and the Troglodytes, the ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. They don't get the message, and they will never get the message. Because they are brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads at their truest and their most properest levels. Lou DiBella is putting it out there that if Terence Crawford do not fight legitimate opponents, he went so much as to say this: Errol the True Spence has to fight several more quality-based opponents. That's what Terence Crawford has to fight in order for him to line himself up with an Errol the True Spence. Let me say it again. Terence Crawford, the chihuahua barking behind a damn fence, or aka the new variation promotion of a Black Ivan Redcat, has to fight several more quality opponents before he can step into the ring with the likes of a Errol the True Spence. Because if he doesn't do this, y'all, Errol the True Spence is basically going to look past him. It's like Jay-Z said, I'm not looking at you, dude. I'm looking past you. Let me say it again. I'm not looking at you, dude. I'm looking past you. That's what's going to happen, y'all. In its truest and its most properest forms. There's levels to this stuff. Shout outs to Meek Mill. There's gears. You can't be sitting here in one welterweight in Errol the True Spence and saying, this is my lineup, Free Smoke Jr. style of Danny Garcia, then Terence Bud Crawford, then Manny Pacquiao. That's heavyweight lifting upon heavyweight lifting upon heavyweight lifting. Let me say it again. You can't have a Free Smoke Jr. Mr. Line 'em Up style of Danny Garcia, Terence Bud Crawford, and Manny Pacquiao. That's heavyweight lifting on top of heavyweight lifting on top of heavyweight lifting, and compare that with a guy that may possibly fight a 126-pounder Gary Russell Jr. Things that make you say, let me say it again. Things that make you say, or possibly a Ray Robinson. See, these are the opponents that Terence Bud Crawford keeps fighting. Why is Ray Robinson getting brought up into the mix? Because Ray Robinson tied. He had a draw of 50-50 with Kavaliauskas. Now, Kavaliauskas, for those who are not boxing connoisseurs or boxing purists, basically, that's his name for Mean Machine. Y'all motherfuckers know him as Mean Machine, the casual. But the truth of the fact of the matter is, he had a tie with Mean Machine. So Ray Robinson could very well drop Terence Bud Crawford, the Chihuahua, barking behind the damn fence within 3 rounds too. Let me say it again. Ray Robinson can very much so and realistically drop the Chihuahua, barking behind the damn fence within 3 rounds. This can very well happen. This is very much so possible and likely. These are the opponents that Terence Bud Crawford is fighting. So when Roy Jones, in his punch drunkenness fashion, tells you, because you have to be punch drunk to be fighting Mike Tyson at this stage of your career. You've never fought at the heavyweight division. He's going to get knocked the fuck out. Let me say it again. You have to be punch drunk at this stage of your career, or you have to need money out of your ass. Never fought at the heavyweight division. And when I say fought at the heavyweight division, I ain't talking about no fucking Ruiz. I'm talking about real heavyweight lifting of real heavyweights, i.e. a Mike Tyson variation. And think that you're going to win that fight? Too many blows to the head. Too many punch drunkenness. Or this is Coonisms or Uncle Tomisms. Let me say it again. Too many punches to the head, or too much punch drunkenness, or it could be Coonisms or Uncle Tomism. You have your pick. You have your choice. You have your pick of the litter. It doesn't freaking matter. Either way, this is what happens when reverse bias, aka detractors, aka panders, speak. They're speaking out of turn. They're speaking out of line. They're speaking out of jealousy, and they're speaking out of envy. Let me say it again. They're speaking out of turn. They're speaking out of line. They're speaking out of jealousy, and they're speaking out of envy. What Errol the True Spence reminds Terence Bud Crawford, and he knows the sport, has said this before. So, lest y'all forget, lest I have to remind y'all asses. Let me say it again. Lest y'all forget, lest I have to remind y'all asses. Errol the True Spence reminds Terence Bud Crawford of his nightmares of Antonio Tarver. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence reminds Roy Jones Jr. of his nightmares with Antonio Tarver. This is why he can't stand Errol the True Spence. Because he sees that dichotomy. But see, Errol the True Spence is even just another level, another league, another page over Antonio Tarver. And he could see himself in Terence Bud Crawford, and how Terence Bud Crawford is going to get systematically broken the fuck down. How can you be a top 3 pound for pound fighter like Errol the True Spence said? Ring Magazine acts like Errol the True Spence doesn't freaking exist, like he is not on the planet when he had the best calendar year of 2019. This is what I'm talking about when I tell you guys supposed boxing pundits are masquerading as reverse bias, aka detractors, aka panders. Let me say it again. So-called boxing pundits are masquerading themselves as reverse bias, aka detractors, aka panders. It's so that they can force feed you bullshit. This is what they want to put into you. If the black fighter is not buck dancing, is not giving them that talk that they want, and he's basically lining himself up into his Coonisms, lining himself up into his Uncle Tomism, they'll accept that. But an unapologetic black fighter, man, that's the worst thing in the world. That's the most scariest thing, and that's what Errol the True Spence is. This is why they purposefully omitted him off of Ring Magazine when we know damn well, like Lou DiBella said, look at his resume. Look at what this guy's done. And after he fights Danny Garcia, this shit is going to be 70-30. So when we listen to Roy Jones Jr. tell us that Errol the True Spence needs to continue to prove to him, this exactly tells you what I was talking about. This is that house nigga, field nigga mentality. This is that coonisms and this is that Uncle Tomisms mentality of black folks being conquering and dividing, man, and allowing the massa to separate them. Because Roy Jones Jr. has to talk that talk. This guy is in need of he's in financial dire strait. He has to talk the talk in order for him to get what he needs to get. And the reason why I say that is because why at this stage, if you are an announcer, you're looking to fight Mike Tyson. That's for the bag, y'all. These are two old geezers that are going at it. See, when He Knows the Sport has to tell you the cold-hearted, the unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, people get offended by this. But remember, when did He Knows the Sport care about what you are offended about? Because I don't give a fuck. Let me say it again. I don't give a fuck. So I don't care how you see the situation. Because remember, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. And in cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat truth-teller fashion variation, you have to look at the underlying undercurrents here. Roy Jones Jr. is constantly putting roadblocks on top of Errol the True Spence because he knows damn well that Errol the True Spence reminds him of a high-octane Antonio Tarver, the likes that he doesn't want to see. And it's making him hot and bothered like grits. And he knows damn well, like Errol the True Spence told him, I'm a wash your boy when he was talking about Terence Crawford. Let me say it again. I'm a wash your boy when he was talking about Terence Crawford. Because one thing about Terence Crawford, and you guys need to understand this, so let this marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me and hear me. Well, like Errol the True Spence said, you too light in the ass, I will straight up stop you. That's what Terence Crawford is. Bud Light. So we got to give Lou DiBella credit here. And we have to debunk what Roy Jones Jr. is saying here. Because both guys are fundamentally saying different things. But one guy's residing himself and governing himself under truth-telling fashion. And the other one is in a fantasy world. Because the realistic truth-telling fashion is Errol the True Spence is the guy at the welterweight division. Fantasy world tells you that it's Terence Crawford. I keeps the foot on the what? On the decks. I keeps the foot on the what? On the decks. Roy Jones Jr., you get the biggest what? Higgity hush of the damn day. Stop taking too many punches to the head, bruh. You already punch drunk. You need to get your CTE scan. And trust and believe, if you fight Mike Tyson, at the end of that fight, we ain't gonna be saying things that make you say, we're gonna be wondering, when is this motherfucker gonna get the fuck up? I keeps the foot on the what? On the decks. I keeps the foot on the what? On the decks. When a fighter has shown you a severe level of punch drunkenness, you can't take anything that they say seriously. It's really that simple, folks. This is He Knows the Sport. Check it out.